We're back with some breaking news. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer speaking right now there in the Senate and giving a major address related to the Middle East and what's happening in Israel and Gaza. Let's listen.
A real meaningful step forward. But regrettably, there's no reason to believe Prime Minister Netanyahu would do that. He won't disavow Ministers Smotrich and Ben-Gvir in their calls for Israelis to drive Palestinians out of Gaza and the West Bank. He won't commit to a military operation in Rafah that prioritizes protecting civilian life. He won't engage responsibly in discussions about a day-after plan for Gaza and a longer-term pathway to peace. Hamas and the Palestinians who support and tolerate their evil ways, radical right-wing Israelis in government and society, President Abbas, Prime Minister Netanyahu. These are the four obstacles to peace, and if we fail to overcome them, then Israel and the West Bank and Gaza will be trapped in the same violent state of affairs they've experienced for the last 75 years. These obstacles are not the same in their culpability for the present state of affairs, but arguing over which is the worst stymies our ability to achieve peace. Given the complexity and gravity of this undertaking, many different groups have a responsibility to see it through. The Palestinian people must reject Hamas and the extremism in their midst. They know better than anybody how Hamas has used them as pawns, how Hamas has tortured and punished Palestinians who seek peace. Quite frankly, I haven't heard enough Palestinian leaders express anguish about Hamas and other extreme elements of Palestinian society. I implore them to speak up now, even when it may be hardest, because that is the only true way to honor the lives of all those lost, by transcending the enmity and bloodshed and working together in good faith for a better future. Once Hamas is deprived
Okay, we will
of power,
continue to monitor this speech from the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. I want to go to NBC's Julie Surkin, who's joining us back from Capitol Hill now. And I think the big headline there, Julie, Netanyahu no longer fits the needs of Israel, Senator Schumer just said.
Exactly, Anna. This is so notable coming from Leader Chuck Schumer's mouth, in part because he is the highest-ranking Jewish official. He is also the first Jewish majority leader in the Senate. He has a very long relationship with Israel. He was there on the ground almost immediately after the October 7th attack. So this coming from him, this strong criticism of Prime Minister Netanyahu is very, very notable. I want to point out some other things that he said in his ongoing speech. Again, this was billed as a major address on Israel. It's a moment in which, of course, there are many issues taking place in terms of those on the left being frustrated with President Biden and his response to Israel. Israel aid being held up also in part because progressives are frustrated about its lack of conditions attached to it. So Schumer using this moment to appeal, really, and he said in part, of course, that the four obstacles to peace: one, Hamas and the Palestinians who support and tolerate their evil ways; two, the radical right-wing Israelis in government and society; three, President Abbas, who is the president of the state of Palestine; and number four, which he spent perhaps the most part of his speech talking about, is, of course, Prime Minister Netanyahu. He says if these four obstacles are not changed, if Netanyahu is not course corrected, then it could be the end of Israel and the end of a two-state solution for Palestine as well.
Wow. Okay, Julie Surkin, thanks for bringing us those highlights from, again, this major address by Chuck Schumer, the Senate Majority Leader.